What's up, peddlers? Paul here. How many of you have ever tried to sell your bike or some bike parts online? Today, I'm going to go over a few tips and tricks that I've found I look for when buying or selling parts online. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to start with a few do's and don'ts of the beginning of the process. And the beginning of the process is get some photos of your bikes. One of the don'ts is don't just stand here and take this photo. Don't just post that photo if that is the only photo you take. Take photos. Don't take the photo high in from the front. Don't take the photo high in from the side. Get a little bit creative with your shots. This shot doesn't really work either unless you're just doing it to demonstrate that there's a part on the bike that has some wear. This is a good example. Get low. Get good profile shots of the bike. Get in positions that people typically aren't used to seeing. Don't just stand up for your bike. I don't even have numbers, so let's just move on to the next thing. If you're taking photos of a high-end bike, follow the Velo rules. If you don't know what the Velo rules are, I will put a link for them in the description. There's a lot of Velo rules. Look up the ones particular for bicycles. This is, again, a high shot. Let's try to avoid the high shots. And they don't do your bike any justice. Get down, get low, and you'll get a lot more out of the photos. So down low, gonna get this shot. It's almost the same shot as if I was standing up, but it just looks so much better. It really shows off the whole bike. So like I'm saying, if you're trying to kind of point out individual things, take the photos from this position. Want to show off the shifters. Let's take a quick look at the brakes. We're going to get a shot of the brakes. Brakes are not a bad thing to take a photo of. Not only do they show the brake, the brand, the model, but you can also take a good shot of the brake wear. One of the other things that I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a shot of the hub. Not specifically the whole wheel. I guess I could have, but the hub was kind of a highlight of this. Being that I had Shimano 105 hubs, I figured that would be a good place to start. I'm also going to get a good shot of the rear wheel here, but I'm also going to do the rear brake for two reasons. One, to matching brake. Two, I got the wear indicator on the tire. That way I kind of killed two birds with one stone there. Show that there's still life left in the tire. Also that I have matching front rear brakes. What I don't have that's matching, and I'm going to shoot a photo of that because I want to indicate that the rear wheel does not match the front. It is a Shimano 105 hub, but it is a newer wheel than the front wheel. I also want to kind of highlight other parts, especially wear parts on the bike. So we're going to take a good shot of the crankset as well as the front derailleur. Crankset and the derailleur kind of show some wear, get a bit of a close-up on the chain. So we're also going to move around to the back and get a shot of the rear derailleur and a bit of the cassette. I'm moving kind of quickly here, but we'll do the full gambit of the photos at the end of the video to show you exactly which photos I use. I took quite a few photos. But we want to highlight things. In this case, I have really worn tape on my bars. So rather than take that front-on view, which I suggested was probably not a good idea, I'm going to take this shot. It's going to give you a bit more profile, show off a little bit more of the bike, show off a few things that I didn't see from the front. As well as I've got a few spots where I've got a bit of paint defect or paint chipping. No dents, but I want to highlight these when I post this bike for sale. Also, don't be like me. Support your bike better. Yes, that really happened. So don't thing number whatever on. Don't take your photos with your back to the sun. Directly like this. I hate seeing photos with bikes for sale and your shadow. Yeah. So same area. I just moved 90 degrees to the sun. So good light, good place to set up. And in this case, I moved from using my cell phone to a Canon PowerShot camera. Nothing too fancy, but takes a pretty good photo. So, you could really use anything. If it takes a photo, take some photos. All right. So now that we've taken our photos, we're going to head home and do a little bit of editing with those photos. And in this case, I want to use something free and easy to use. So we're going to use a program called GIMP. I will put the download link for this in the description below. It's a Photoshop photo editing type software, and it is completely free. So now that we have GIMP loaded up, we are going to import all of our photos into GIMP. All right. One of the other things that I do is I make sure to put all my photos into the same album. And there's a reason for that, and I'll explain it later. But for now, we're going to copy everything into GIMP. So we're going to select everything and just drop it into GIMP. And it's going to load up each file individually. Once it's loaded up, what we're going to want to do is we want to do some cropping. So in the process of that, we're going to take the rectangular select tool, select the photo, and an image, drop down the menu, crop to selection. This is going to give us just the crop of the bike. So after we've cropped, we want to kind of make the image stand out a little bit. So we're going to go into colors, drop down to auto, color enhance legacy. So we're going to continue to do that with all the photos that we've taken, cropping them down and enhancing that color. If you want to see all the photos that I ended up using in the post, not only will I link the post, but I will have all the edited images at the end of this video. So let's go ahead and start talking about the don'ts when it comes to taking a photo. And these are things that are completely my personal opinion. They may hold true to you, they may not. So let's go over some don'ts when it comes to taking your photos. One of the things that bugs me the most is don't take this photo here. This is a photo of a bunch of bikes in a room and you're trying to sell a bike. Well, which bike am I selling? I guess I could always crop it down a little bit. Does that help? No. Don't do the stand up thing. Don't do the stand over the top of your bike. Don't take it from the front. Don't take it directly from the side. Don't take photos of your bike on your bike rack. That works for Instagram, I guess, but don't do the bike thing on the bike rack. Take your bike off, drive somewhere, take your bike off, take photos. Don't use a flash if you are taking it near a license plate. Don't take photos directly into the sun. I guess they look coolish, but don't do that. Get angles. So don't take photos with your back directly to the sun either. If you're taking a photo of your bike where you can see your shadow, I've made the mistake. I guess it works for Instagram, but don't do it when you're trying to sell your bike. Avoid most of those mistakes. Also look into contrasting colors. Don't put a white bike against a white wall. Don't put a black bike in the bushes in the dark. You want your bike to be seen. This is one of those photos that I didn't think was going to work. And I did a little bit of messing around with it. And after it got cropped down and color enhanced, it actually came out okay. I didn't use it, but I feel like this would be an okay one to use. All right, now let's get into the actual pricing of the bike. And for me, I had to do a little bit of research. And part of that research was finding out what year and model my bike was. The only information I had was I knew it was a Cannondale. That was it. So I had to do a little bit of research. I did a bit of Googling, and Found the serial number, gave me all that information that I really needed. Most bike manufacturers are like that. It can take a little bit of Google research, but if you take some time, you'll be able to find it out. If you bought the bike new, this information should be pretty handy to you. Look at your receipt. So for me, I figured out what year it was. Now I had to figure out the model. So Cannondale has an archive. Most companies do. I found out that it was a 1987's bike, and I knew it was 105 equipped, and the colors matched. So I found my bike. It's the Cannondale SR 500. So now that I've got that information, we're going to move on. And one of the places that I use is Bicycle Blue Book. I will link the description for that I will link that in the description below. I've done the research. Cannondale on Bike Blue Book does not have it, but my Trek bike, on the other hand, does. So let's take a quick look on how this website works. I have a 2015 Trek Fuel EX7 27.5. That gives me the base price and what the bike should sell for depending on the condition. I'm going with my bikes in very good condition, so that's kind of the price range that I'm looking at. This does have the option to add things that you've added to the bike. In general, it doesn't always change much. I go through the whole thing, go through all the settings. So we're going to add some wheels, add some cranks. And as of right now, I'm putting all this stuff being installed within a year. Added a new front shock. Put a new derailleur on there. I put an XTR on there. Just put new handlebars on it. See what else we got. Do have a new saddle. Yeah, new seat post. Got to drop a post on there. Everything now comes with one, so it's hard to sell a bike without it. I just upgraded my brakes. Got new Z brakes on there. Those are like $150 a wheel. And new shift levers. I just put XT shift levers on it. I did. I've upgraded the bike quite a bit. So you can see the price difference based on the modification. In general, assume that your bike is worth about half what you paid for it if it's in really good condition. And then whatever components you've added to it, assume half that. So if I have a $300 bike and I put $300 in components on it, I'm getting $150 for the bike and $150 for the components. So $300 is what I'm looking to sell it for. So now we're going to go ahead and post it. I'm not going to go through all the nuances of how to use Facebook Marketplace, but in general, we're going to sell an item. So sell new item, choose what item you're selling, put it in the right category, please. That's a pet peeve of mine, is finding stuff in the wrong categories because people are just cross-posting them everywhere. Put a good title. So as much information as you can, year, make, model, and in my case, I've added quite a bit of upgrades to it. So for pricing, again, we go back to that pricing, half plus half. So half the bike's cost, half of components that you may have added. In my case, that actually was about $600. Put your location and description. Description is going to be important. And this is one of those things where in the description, you want to put as much information as you can. The more information you put there, the less annoying calls you're going to get, as well as pick a really good photo. The first photo that's on there is what's going to show up. That's what people are going to see, and you want to grab their attention right away. You want them to click on that photo to read your description. If that photo isn't interesting, it is unlikely that people are going to click on it. So I've now dragged and dropped all my photos in there. Gonna let Facebook load. That takes absolutely forever. At least it does in my case. I'm like recording this and downloading stuff and probably watching TV in the background. So I get all my photos on there, move the photos that show your blemishes or the faults of the bike to the very end. I'm not saying to hide them there, but just move them to the end. So I've written my description in here, and it's a good time for spell check. If you are using Google Chrome, there's a cool piece of software that's an add-on called Grammarly. I use it all the time because I can't spell. My grammar's horrible. So I like to use it a lot. But in here, I've filled in as much information as I can. I have lots of stuff in the description talking about the bike, how old it is, just anything that I can find. I am using kind of keywords here, lots of light. They're used tires already, but there's quite a bit of life left in them. And then I organize my photos in such a way that they kind of progress to the best photos to the worst parts of the bike. Now we're going to cross post. So if you're part of other buy sell groups, you have the ability to do this once you set up to post on Facebook Marketplace. So for me, I went through and I found all my cycling specific groups and I've cross posted to those. Don't cross post to groups that are unrelated. So don't put your road bike in a mountain bike group. Don't put your road bike on a car group, and that's it. This is what we have. As you can see, I've got quite a few things for sale. Most of them are not actually mine. I'm selling them for other people. But as you can see, all these photos are a little bit creative. I like that low angle. I get the side slightly up angle, which I actually don't like. I hope this video helped. If it helped you at all, please remember to thumb up, like, and subscribe, and share with your friends. For now, as promised, here are the photos that I use to post to Facebook.